John, how can you always have the right TV for the right application without carrying hundreds of valves on your truck?
You can carry the hundreds of valves on a trailer behind your truck.
That's too funny. That would work, but how are you going to do that? Maybe there's an easier way.
You can use Sporland's interchangeable cartridge style Type Q and Type BQ TEVs. Type Q is a conventional design and Type BQ is a ballast for TEV.
Well, come on. I need easy. How easy is it?
Easy as 1, 2, 3.
And it serves thousands of unique applications. So what's the process? How do I put this together?
First, select the thermostatic element assembly. Then you select the body that you need. Then you select the right size cartridge for the application to get the proper capacity PEV for your application. Then I guess it should also be said you want to actually assemble those into a single valve.
That'd probably be a good idea. These easy to select and assemble valves mean you're always carrying the right for the right job. If folks want to learn more, what do they do?
You can go to sporland.com and find more information on the Type Q and BQ thermostatic expansion valves.
I guess that's Jim and John for Sporland signing off.
We've all been there in the middle of a job, everything going smoothly until boom, you're missing a part. United Refrigeration is your one-stop shop for all your refrigeration needs. Use your computer or smartphone to go to www.uri.com at any time of day or night to check stock on your favorite brands, such as Copeland, Sporland, Carlisle compressors, Danfoss, Emerson CPC boards and sensors, Carrel, Hussmann parts, and K2Therm. United Refrigeration, Inc. is home to these brands and many more. Looking for information on refrigerant conversions or refrigerant banking? Quick access links on the homepage can get you to the information you need. All approved accounts are able to see live to the minute inventory and pricing. Product not in stock at your local branch? No problem. Use the nearby stock feature to find a local branch that does have what you need. Are you looking for a branch address, phone number, or after hours number? That's all available as well. Just click on the branch locator and search for your local branch. Have a model number and looking for a replacement part? www.uri.com/ARP has a vast list of quick pick replacement parts. Just search for the model number of the equipment you're working on and click the Replacement Parts tab. If you don't have an account, click the Register button and we'll have you online in no time. With more than 400 locations in North America, each United Refrigeration branch is fully stocked for immediate pickup. Our branch employees have in-depth technical knowledge, so we can help you get what you need when you need it. Visit your local store or www.uri.com/ARP today. United Refrigeration, Inc. has all your solutions down cold.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Advanced Refrigeration Podcast. You're here with your host, Brett Wetzel and Kevin Compass. Where you at? You sound like you're having tons of fun this week, man.
I'm in New Mexico, and I am not happy.
Why?
Oh, well, we flew out here yesterday to make sure we were here to like bust through this job, and all my parts got thrown away.
Oh, wait. Well, like what kind of parts? Like valves
Like
and
all of my EMS boards got thrown away or stolen. Nobody knows.
it's a mystery.
It's a
They-
mystery. More likely got thrown away, or they're on a claims truck somewhere.
Anyone look at the Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah, no, not out here in
No.
New Mexico, and surprisingly, it is colder than Chicago.
Come on.
It was fucking 22 degrees this morning. It was 34 in Chicago.
In New Mexico?
Mm-hmm.
That's really weird.
It was like frosted up windows and everything. Very disappointed. I thought it was gonna be like nice and warm and comfortable out here. No.
I don't even know what it is back home. Like back in Texas. I haven't looked. I know
70 all the time.
what's that?
It's 70 all the time till it's
70 all the time. It got down to like 8 for like day and core change.
yeah, then you guys all died.
It was last year. No, I'm in Cali this week. I'm teaching a class. Yeah. There's a lot of interesting people out here. Tons.
Oh, thank you.
I was hungry. I went to a gas station and was looking for something to eat because I'm fat and I didn't want to like go to a restaurant. So I'm in the back just trying to figure out what I want to eat, rifling through the snacks, and I hear the manager get into an argument with a tweaker, and he's arguing back and forth about the credit card. He's like, "This shit happens all the time. This shit happens all the time. This is freaking ridiculous." So yeah, I'm in the back and I'm like, I swear to God, I'm not stealing anything. I'm just fat and can't figure out what I want to eat. So I'll be right up. And like everyone in the store started laughing. It was hysterical. So that's Monday so far. So let's see what Tuesday brings. What are you doing tomorrow?
I am flying back home.
What?
Yeah,
Oh.
we're out of here. We're flying back home. I brought down enough parts on the plane to facilitate anything that was missed because I didn't quote this job. It was all the parts were quoted by one of the manufacturers. So I already knew they messed it up from the parts list. So
So,
I mean,
how long's the rest of the shit until everything's back from being like, I'm sure they don't have a lot of that stuff just sitting on the shelf for what you need.
oh no, it's probably 90% sitting on the shelf. If not, I have everything in Chicago to do it, but
Okay.
we don't have time now because I'm starting another job on Monday. Next Monday, I start another job. So this is gonna have to get pushed back.
Where are you
It
going?
already got pushed back once.
Yeah, where are
I
you
have a
going?
job in Chicago. It's like a month-long job back home. Not to
When are you coming
mention,
out
we
to
have
Texas?
about 8. What?
I said, when are you coming out to
What?
Texas to do
When am I going to
the
Texas? Never, because I almost died down there last time I was there.
I thought you were going to do the store right near my house.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. It's we have 18 more stores to change condensers on, and there's just stuff piling up.
So
It's out of control.
so what's this month-long job? What do you got going on?
It's just the EMS conversion.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's nothing special. It's just the EMS conversion, but like it's at home.
Special, I guess.
So well, no, this is nothing special. I mean, it's just a EMS conversion on a 40-year-old store. So
Well, the wiring's going to be fun then.
Just get-
Is it like old braid Ford store?
no, this would be like 20 years newer than this. We're talking like original Margalux racks
Oh my God.
in original Hill racks. Not Hill Phoenix, Hill.
That's older than me.
And it's what they're in season 4 rack houses.
Come on. The
Oh,
old
yeah.
wood bottom, the old wood bottoms.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
So like it's so warped with oil, right? All the floorboards are warped because of the years of just oil just getting poured all over the floor.
No, they're nice and like good.
Really?
Got that red shag Hill Phoenix carpet in there.
Come on.
The original. Oh yeah, the original shag carpeting.
Well, I want that for my room. I
Oh,
want that for my office.
I was glad we're doing this in the summertime or in the wintertime because like this place is infested with spiders to the point where like I won't go up there.
Are you ready to go?
I don't like spiders. Like I mean I'll deal with them, but like not a fan. Like
Oh,
these aren't like little spiders. These are like massive spiders.
I have so many ideas for AHR now.
No, stop it.
Oh, it's going to be hysterical all week.
Get fucking stabbed. This was gonna happen.
You're not allowed to take a knife on the plane.
Well, fucking, I think I got this knife in his room.
Check baggage.
Yep. All right, guys. Tonight we're going to talk about some stuff I've seen like pop up recently on a lot of the groups, and it's
Spiders.
I'm going to make this so you have to edit the shit out of it if you don't stop. So tonight we're going to talk about I forums and ways to deal with it. So I've been seeing like a lot of cases. We've had a ton of cases here lately, like that are like 5 to 8 years old that are, like had nonstop icing up issues. So what I'm seeing a lot is like there's a lot of ice building up behind fan plenums in like frozen food doors and coffins. Doesn't really affect medium temp that much, but it's mostly frozen food doors and coffins. And I see it more so on frozen food doors. So what you'll see is what you'll get there and you'll have a little bit of ice in the drain pan. You'll have low airflow. You'll have a little bit of ice in the drain pan. Usually you end up having motors blades stuck in ice. A tiny bit of ice is by the drain, but the majority of the ice is behind the fan plenum. It's and it won't drain out. Now, there's a couple different reasons this happens. So we're going to go over ways to check this and what to check and how to know if the case is just junk at this point. So couple reasons you get ice behind the fan plenums. Number one, the case isn't level. I've seen this time and time again where they got the cases and they try to butt up the ends and make sure the ends are squared up, but the cases aren't level back to back. So it doesn't take very much pitch to be out of level to hold wall. It's going to build behind the fan plenum. So number one thing, get like a 2-foot level, throw it back to back, side to side, make sure you're level. I've found tons of frozen food doors that aren't level that all we need to do is throw some more shims in there. So that's one thing, that everything is level. Another thing is making sure that we've had a couple cases where we've had to shim fan plenums. So like take like a couple flat washers and we've had to stick them underneath the fan plenum just to lift it up a smidge, like a 1/6 inch, just to allow that water to come out of there. I mean, whether it's a design issue with the case, the bottom's not completely flat, but we've had to raise up a couple fan plenums by shimming them. The other thing, which is this is the majority of them, is ice gets between the insulation and the skin of the case, meaning the bottom deck pan of the case. And what happens is that ice accumulates over time and grows. And then what happens is it pushes up the deck pan and actually pitches back the whole deck pan to the point where that water wants to sit behind the coil and not drain out of the coil. Once this happens, I mean, go ahead, Brett.
Have you ever seen where the
You're muted.
that's where have you ever seen where the case is so not leveled, where basically it's setting too low because I don't know, they didn't shim it all, and the drain wasn't hitting the floor at one point, but after I don't know 2 or 3 years of being installed, the thing just sat down the bottom and starts pushing the drain hub up.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen it where it's been pushing on it so much, like especially like the newer hill cases. Like there's almost no room to put a drain in there. Like I mean, they're so low profile.
So what do you do? What do you do to fix it?
Like you
I
can
mean,
barely get a piece of
uh,
turn your video off. So I've seen it both ways where like look you look at it, it's pushing up the drain. We've had stores where we had to take cases and raise them up on strut. We've had to put strut down on the floor and raise them up off the floor in order to get enough level back and forth and then, have enough room to do the drains. Especially with like cases like I see that more on cases with like buffer boxes for like evac and stuff because it's so tight underneath there with that evac line. I mean, you almost don't get enough pitch on there and then like it pushes up on the drain hubs.
no, like I said, we have a store where they just didn't, and it looks like they barely put any shims on it whatsoever. And so once they got some product in it, once they got everything down, just it's basically pushing up the hub so bad that's pushing up in the middle. And you could try to relieve that stress, like you said, but I wouldn't even think how to push that down besides a couple blocks of wood and a prototype.
Yeah, I mean, you would almost have to take some blocks of wood and kind of knock it down. That or redo the hub, the whole thing. I mean, at that point, you're pretty much like when this happens, you'll see like the kind of the panel kind of bow. What I do to test this is I'll generally pour some water on the deck pan and see if how it drains out of the case. If it like wants to sit in the fan plenum and not roll out, we've been out for a few days and throwing some heaters in there to hot box the case to try to melt it out, drill some holes in the bottom, try to let the water come out. You'd be surprised how much water in there. The problem is it could take days to melt that out. And then if you don't 100% seal that back up, you water in there and do it again. The problem with that is once that insulation's saturated, it's done because you're gonna refreeze it. You're gonna lose that insulation quality, and it's just gonna condensate through there. Because once that insulation's wet, it's done, and it starts condensating in there. Even though you seal the case 100%, it's not leaking water in there. It's still gonna sweat and condensate. You're never gonna get it 100% sealed. So that's why it's like so imperative on control these cases and to make sure that every single penetration is sealed when they bring the lines in. Like I am a huge fan of not bringing lines to the bottom of the case. I hate it because I mean you're just opening yourself up for a couple freeze ups, a couple plug drains, and then next thing you have soaked insulation because I mean let's be honest, we got to bring it through a spot and they're going to foam it, and I like to have my guys cover the foam in silicone. Where did you lose me at?
Basically, when right before you started talking about not piping cases underneath.
Okay. So I like to have my guys not pipe. I like to see the cases not piped from the bottom. Anytime there's cases piped from the bottom, I mean, it is what it is. With certain cases, you have no choice. But going in the back, you have less of a chance of soaking the insulation. Because the problem with going in the bottom is most case manufacturers, they're starting to do it, but most case manufacturers don't build up a mound or anything where you drill through. Husband's starting to get better at it. But the problem with that is you could foam it, but as soon as you get a good drain backup or a couple good ice ups, all that water is going to seep right into that foam. I mean, you're never going to get it 100% sealed. And then right underneath that deck skin, it's going to get right in between there and it's going to fill up the insulation. It's going to get wet. And once that insulation gets wet, I mean, everything's done. I mean, there's nothing you could do about it. I mean, you're never going to be able to dry that thing out in the field without it sitting for like a week or two, probably with heaters in it to dry it out.
Hey guys, today's episode is sponsored by Westermeyer Industries Serviceable Oil Floats. Many oil separators contain an oil float to effectively meter separated oil back to the compressors. Westermeyer Industries has taken this concept and perfected it with their new line of serviceable oil floats. These floats feature an improved design with fewer components, allowing for greater manufacturer consistency and up to 20% increased oil flow versus their legacy models. These floats also feature an integrated magnet to shield the oil path from debris and have been field proven in supermarket applications. Westmeyer Industries offer replacement oil floats not only for their own separators, but also cross-compatible models for our competitor oil separators as well. You can find out more about the Westermeyer Industries serviceable oil floats by visiting westermeyerind.com/floats. Once again, that's westermeyerind.com/float. Let's get on with the episode.
So that's why if you are going to go into the bottom of the case, when they are installing it, they need to foam it really good, and then take silicone and then basically brush the silicone over and make sure you silicone every little bit of it. So that way you get a nice seal on there because it's going to leak eventually. But I mean, at least if you silicone it too, I'd be putting it up a better fight for it to not seep down in there. Now, once it's down in there, I mean, and you get moisture inside between in the case skins, I mean, there's pretty much nothing you could do. You could try a few things that are gonna like prolong it, but it's still gonna ice up. So I mean, we've done the washer trick. We've shot some washers underneath the fan plenum to lift it up a little bit to try to get it some more room for it to drain out. Increasing the drip time, I've done that and it's helped a little bit. Give it, instead of a 5-minute drip, give it a 10-minute drip. Try to get a little bit more water in that coil before it freezes. So that way you aren't freezing that water inside the coil. You get a little bit more drain time out of it. The other thing is you could pitch the case a little bit, or I've actually taken a hammer and beat down the deck pan a little bit, tapped it down to where it kind of has like a straight shot of the drain where it's a lower channel where it kind of like drains down to it. I mean, that's my last ditch effort, but I mean, if they aren't changing a case and I'm tired of de-icing it, like, I mean, at least make a channel so it can drain out of it. And we had a store, they had a row of glass doors. They were constantly icing up, backing the drains up from the store plumbing. Like they would nonstop. You couldn't de-ice a case up without all the store drains backing up. So it eventually ended up destroying the cases. So the low temp frozen food or ice cream doors, they would ice up. It was like one a week. So it was one a week, an entire row. Like you were just going through and I must have de-iced this case at least 25 times before they finally changed it. And
How
then
old,
that wasn't just
how old was the case?
8 years old.
Wow.
And
I've seen where like some of the manufacturers basically have where the case goes together in the back end and towards the back of the case where the actual deck pin like kind of goes into the back wall or whatever, where it starts to separate after years of abuse.
yeah, I've seen that before too. So I've seen it where the back there, and you get moisture and water freezing back there. The only way to fix that is, I mean, once it splits. But I mean, you could take butyl and seal it all up in there. I mean, butyl is pretty much the only way you're going to seal an active case. I mean,
Have you
looking for good.
have you ever seen some of the cats where they pin seal the whole fucking thing? Like when you have like what you were
So I
saying.
I have seen that.
Have you not?
I have not. So we have carpenters that do most of that stuff. Like, so if they're going to do it, we have a carpenter do it. But like the pan sealing, it works on like older cases. Like, so we've had like I don't remember which Hill cases they are, where they have like the steel deck pans and they run out. And we've had some that run out after like 6 years, 7 years. And instead of changing the case, because the customers are going to change a 6, 7 year old case, they ended up pan sealing them. I mean, and if you're good enough with it, like, I mean, that stuff's self-leveling. So it should, as long as you like keep it from going down the drain, it should pan seal itself out. It looks pretty good. Like I've seen some guys do some cases, it looks like it's OEM,
Oh yeah, for sure. 100%.
but I mean, it's extremely expensive. So pan sealing is something you could do, but I mean, in a frozen food door or coffin, I mean, once the moisture's in there, you're pretty much done. But like if you're repairing the bottom deck of like a multi deck, yeah, that pan sealing works great. I mean, it'll buy you a few more years of the case and keep it from leaking water. It'll let the bottom deck pan eventually dry out if it's not leaking water anymore. But we've had luck with that. And then I mean, I've used Flexi-Seal to seal the bottom spots around a drain pan before. I mean, that's worked okay. I mean, it's not the best, but like it'll work in a pinch. In the can, you get the big can of Flexi-Seal.
No, I know that pan seal shit's like super freaking expensive. How much is the other stuff because didn't you say there's another way to seal that case?
So I've seen them use shower liner too. So
Come
like,
on.
no, like it actually works really good. So like the the shower liners you use for like if you're doing like a tile shower, like it's that waterproof membrane. I've seen guys take that and lay it down in a case and then they butyl around it. I mean, that stuff's like thick. Like it's real thick and it's real like movable. So I mean it's really easy to like get it around 90-degree corners and stuff because it's made for showers and stuff. So I mean it actually works out pretty well. If you I mean I like the pan seal better, but I mean that it actually looks pretty good like once you seal it up.
Would you feel up what?
Like the edges and like make it all look nice with some butyl. I try to stay away from butyl because it ends up all over me every time.
With you.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, guys, I mean, once they get to that point, I mean, you just need to have that conversation with the customer. It is what it is, and if you're icing up the fan plenums that much, I mean, it is what it is, and the customer just needs to look at replacing the cases. I mean, there's pretty much nothing you could do to salvage that case long term that isn't going to cost a ton of money in service calls and them pulling product out because stuff's icing up and nobody wants to be out there de-icing the case like the 30th time after they've already de-iced it.
Well,
So
well, well, that's the bitch too, because I mean, with one of the situations that you said where the case basically is oversaturated with water, that's going to take days to fucking dry out. You know what I mean? Like that's not going to happen overnight.
so we tried it with a frozen food door. We had for 4 days there was electric heaters in there. I mean the case was averaging like 85 degrees. It was plywooded off on both sides and foam boarded so it wouldn't affect the cases next to it as much. But it was plywooded off, foam boarded, and it was like 80 to 90 degrees for like 3 or 4 days. It you seen the pans go down? Like you could literally push on a deck pan and there was like a difference. Like there was like the ice had melted, like you push it down. It made it maybe 5 months, 6 months without icing up. And then finally it built up enough where it needed defrosted because it built up and it stopped the fans.
Yeah, we had a bunch of cases that were icing up. One problem and I don't understand this with some of the cases where they don't use any sort of fan delay after the case goes into a defrost. That is totally perplexing to me. I don't understand the control on that. I don't understand. I understand why it ices up. I just don't understand why this specific manufacturer does this. And then just dealing with infiltration from typically the back wall where it ends up just sucking in a whole bunch of moisture for some sort of separation in the case, causing excessive moisture in the case, which obviously causes excessive humidity on the coil to build up and then eventually icing the freaking thing up.
So I've been seeing like a lot of older cases, like you said, where the back walls aren't sealed. I mean, we've had to pull coils forward and butyl the backs of the coils. Or we've had a lot of like LED light conversions. Same thing, like where
Oh,
those guys don't ever do anything.
no, how about bent coils? Some of these coils are all aluminum. And
Yeah.
after a little bit of a defrost heater not being in the proper location or being moved around or whatever have you, basically, but it's cinched down by the two sides, breaks open the middle, and ends up making a gap underneath the damn coil.
So it's funny you say that those cases that we were de-icing like weekly in the lineup, every single one of those coils, the entire bottom pass was almost flat.
Come on, like no flow?
Like not no flow, but like I mean like there was no fins on the bottom passes. Like you could literally you could take your hand and just underneath the deck pan to the bottom pass. The fins were all flat because the ice had crushed them. I mean,
I get it. But that's what I don't understand. Like those same cases are the same cases that I'm talking about where they don't have any fucking type of fan delay.
yep.
Where basically you just rip roar the fans as soon as it fucking comes back on. So like, regardless if it's electric defrost, hot gas, I don't give a shit. I mean, a lot of times I'll end up telling the guys to put the fan delays in there whether they got to hook it to the fucking suction line, whether they got to throw it in the coil. I don't care. Just as long as it has some sort of way to basically let that coil get all nice and frosty before it kicks on the fucking fans.
Well, and not even just that, it also keeps all the frost off the product too.
Right. So why wouldn't you do it? That's the biggest bitch about product as far as frozen anyway.
Because they save 28 cents a case from the parts they ordered from some country overseas.
You're killing me. Killing me. You're fucking killing me.
I told you.
We haven't hit AHR yet, motherfucker.
I know. But yeah, I mean, resealing that stuff is on startup, and when you're putting a case in is like critical to keeping this from happening. I mean, you could try to band-aid it. I mean, I've seen guys take an extra drain fan heater and throw it behind the fan plenum. Yeah, it buys a little bit of time, but it still eventually ices up. I mean, it buys them a little bit of time. It keeps the fans from icing up. I mean, it may buy you a couple more months here and there, but it's still eventually going to ice up. So, I mean, you could prolong it as much as you want by adding heaters and everything else, but if that drain pan is bucked, like, you're done. And the other thing I want to talk about is uh, we've had a few, more than a few, probably like 20 or 30 uh, coils come out with like actual like medium profile evaporator coils and like a walk-in where they're like 5 or 6 pan coils and they don't have enough pitch on the drain pan to drain out. So the water is sitting on the ends of the coils and it's pooling and it's cold and it's eventually icing up because it doesn't drain out during defrost. And these are medium temperature coils and they're eventually icing up because the drain pans don't have enough pitch on them. What we've been doing is we've been kind of like cross breaking them a little more. So I kind of just hang myself off the drain hub in the least damaging way I can to try to pull down on it a little bit to give it a little more pitch. And it seems to be working. Like you'll see you get like a like half inch of pitch out of it and it causes the ends of the coils to drain. But it's been freezers and coolers, freezer coils and cooler coils where I've seen where the drain does not have enough pitch and the ends of the coils are icing up and it's causing it to grow from the sides all the way to the center. And it's been on multiple manufacturers. It's probably the same person making all the drain fans for all of them.
You think so?
No, probably. I mean, they're all from China.
China.
But all right, guys, we're gonna cut it tonight. Have a nice one. Thanks for listening.
There, guys.